Something happened in Linz, something that the tennis world cannot stop talking about. Not just a match, not just a result, but a moment that fractured reality and replaced it with something far more dangerous. An illusion. An illusion that justice can be rewritten, that results can be undone, that heartbreak can be erased. Because within hours of that match ending, the internet made a decision. Not based on rules, not based on facts, but based on emotion. They decided this match should be replayed. And I need you to understand something right now. I've followed this sport long enough to recognize outrage. I've seen controversy. I've seen bad calls, broken rackets, screaming matches, crowds crossing the line, players losing control. But what is happening right now? This is something different. This is not debate. This is not analysis. This is mass delusion. Because across social media, a narrative is spreading like wildfire that the WTA is investigating, that officials are reviewing the incident, that a historic decision is coming, that for the first time ever, a completed professional tennis match is going to be replayed. It sounds dramatic, it sounds satisfying, it sounds like justice. But it is none of those things. It is fantasy, and the truth is going to hurt a lot of people. The rise of a future star before everything collapsed. Before the noise, the chaos, the controversy, there was control, pure, undeniable control. Alexandra Eala walked onto that court carrying more than just a racket. She carried expectation. She carried belief. She carried the weight of a nation that had never seen anything like her before. At just 20 years old, trained under the system of Rafael Nadal, she wasn't just another young player trying to survive the tour. She was different. Her movement, sharp. Her shot selection, fearless. Her composure beyond her years. This wasn't hype anymore. This was real. And for over an hour in Linz, she proved it. The moment everything changed across the net stood Jelena Ostapenko, a Grand Slam champion. Unpredictable, explosive, dangerous. The kind of player who doesn't follow patterns but destroys them. But on that day, she was being dismantled. Eala wasn't just winning points. She was controlling the entire match. Rally after rally, she dictated the tempo. Every exchange ended the same way, Ostapenko reacting, Eala commanding, and then came the moment that should have ended it all. 5-1. Second set, one service game away. One step from defeating a Grand Slam champion. One moment away from announcing herself to the world. The crowd could feel it. Her team could feel it. Even her opponent could feel it. And that's when everything broke. Chaos enters the match. It didn't begin with a missed shot. It didn't begin with a double fault. It began with something far more subtle, a disruption. Ostapenko suddenly stopped. She turned, pointed toward the crowd, and everything changed. What followed was not quiet, it was not subtle, it was confrontation, direct, emotional, prolonged. She argued with the chair umpire. She demanded attention. She demanded control. The match paused, the rhythm shattered, the tension multiplied. And in that moment, the balance shifted. Two realities collide. What happened next depends on who you ask. Because the tennis world split into two completely different realities. In one version, Ostapenko saw an opportunity. A player on the brink of defeat, creating chaos to survive. Breaking rhythm, breaking focus, breaking momentum, not by hitting winners, but by disrupting reality itself. In the other version, she was justified. A player defending her right to compete without interference. A professional reacting to distraction. A veteran refusing to accept unfair conditions. Both sides sound convincing. Both sides feel real, but here's the problem. Only one thing actually matters, the rules. The brutal truth: no one wants to hear the umpire made a decision. Play resumed. No violation, no penalty, no reversal. And from that moment on, everything that happened was legitimate. That's the part people don't want to accept, because emotionally it feels wrong. But structurally, it was completely allowed. And what came next was devastating. The collapse. The player who had controlled everything lost control. Eala stepped up to serve. And suddenly something was gone. The second serve, unstable, the rhythm broken, the confidence shaking, point by point, game by game, the lead disappeared. 5-2, 5-3, 5-4. Pressure doesn't arrive all at once. It creeps in, quietly, relentlessly, and across the net, Ostapenko transformed. The same player who looked defeated now played freely, aggressively, dangerously, because she had nothing to lose. And Eala, she had everything. That's what makes 5-1 the most dangerous scoreline in tennis. Not because you're losing, but because you're expected to win. An expectation is heavier than pressure. The internet erupts when the match ended. The reaction was instant, explosive, unforgiving. Clips spread everywhere. The confrontation, the delay, the collapse, but the narrative changed. This wasn't about losing anymore. This became about injustice. Posts began appearing. She was robbed. This match is illegitimate. The WTA must step in. And then came the claim that changed everything. The match will be replayed. It sounded official. It sounded confirmed. It sounded real. But it was. The replay that will never happen. Let's make this absolutely clear. There is no mechanism for this. There is no precedent. There is no scenario where a completed professional tennis match is replayed because of a crowd interaction. Not now, not ever. Once the final point is played, it's over. The handshake happens. The result is recorded. Ranking points are distributed. Prize money is assigned. The tournament moves forward. There is no rewind button in professional tennis. Because if there was, the entire sport would collapse. And that's not exaggeration. That's reality. This isn't about injustice. This isn't about corruption. This isn't about a stolen match. This is about something much harder to accept. This is about a young player experiencing the moment where talent is no longer enough, where control means nothing if you cannot finish, where chaos is not an excuse but a test. And she failed that test, not because she isn't great, but because she isn't finished yet. The moment that defines careers, this is where careers are shaped. Not in victories, but in collapses, because what happens next is everything. She can believe the noise, she can believe she was robbed, she can believe the match should be replayed. Or she can face the truth, that the second serve broke under pressure, that the mind hesitated under chaos, that the moment slipped away because she wasn't ready yet. And that truth, that painful, brutal, unforgiving truth, that is where champions are built. There is a moment in every athlete's career, a moment no camera can fully capture. No statistic can explain. No crowd can truly understand. A moment where everything slows down and at the same time, everything collapses. For Alexandra Eala, that moment didn't come when she walked onto the court. It didn't come when she went down a break. It didn't even come when her opponent started fighting back. It came in silence. In the seconds between points, after the disruption, after the rhythm was gone, when she stood behind the baseline, holding the ball in her hand, and for the first time in the entire match, she wasn't thinking about winning. She was thinking about not losing. The invisible shift. This is where most people misunderstand elite sport. They think matches are decided by technique. Forehands, backhands, serve speed. But at the highest level, matches are decided by something far more fragile: clarity. And clarity is the first thing that disappears when pressure takes control. Before the interruption, Eala was playing freely. Her decisions were automatic, her movements instinctive, her execution effortless. After the interruption, every shot had weight. Every decision had doubt. And doubt is the most dangerous opponent in tennis. What great players do differently? Let's be brutally honest here. What happened to Eala? It's not rare. It's not unusual. It's not even surprising. It's expected. Because closing out a match against a player like Jelena Ostapenko is one of the hardest things in the sport. Why? Because players like Ostapenko don't fade away. They explode. They don't accept defeat. They drag you into chaos. They force you to beat them again and again and again. And if you hesitate even once, they take everything. Control vs survival at 5-1, Eala was in control, but control is a fragile illusion. Because the moment you start thinking about the finish line, you stop running freely. Your swing tightens, your timing shifts, your instincts hesitate, and across the net, your opponent senses it. That's exactly what happened. Ostapenko didn't just come back physically, she came back mentally, emotionally, aggressively. She turned the match into something ugly, something uncomfortable, something unpredictable. And in that environment, experience wins. The cold-blooded difference there is a reason legends are different. It's not because they never feel pressure. It's because they respond to it differently. Think about Rafael Nadal. There were matches he should have lost. Moments where everything was slipping, crowds against him. Momentum gone, energy fading. But he had something most players don't. Ruthlessness, not emotion, not frustration, not panic, ruthlessness. The ability to step up in the most uncomfortable moment and execute like nothing has changed. That's the gap. That's always the gap. And in Linz, that gap was exposed. The second serve that told the story. If you want to understand the collapse, don't look at the scoreline. Look at the second serve. Because the second serve never lies. It reveals everything: confidence, tension, fear. Before the disruption, it was solid, reliable, controlled. After, it became a liability. Double faults crept in. Placement disappeared. Speed dropped, and once that happens, everything else follows. Because now every point starts with pressure. Every rally starts with doubt. Every mistake feels heavier. And suddenly, you're not playing to win. You're playing to survive. The storm she couldn't stop. What makes this loss so painful is not just that she lost, it's how it happened. Because she didn't just lose control once, she lost it repeatedly. Game after game, the same pattern repeated, a chance to stop the momentum, a chance to reset, a chance to breathe. And every time it slipped. That's what separates good players from great ones. Great players stop the bleeding, they break the pattern, they interrupt the collapse. Eala couldn't, not yet. The dangerous lie of, you were robbed, this is where everything becomes dangerous, not on the court, but off it. Because after the match, a narrative was created. You were robbed, it wasn't fair, you deserved to win. And emotionally, that feels comforting, it protects you, it softens the pain, it gives you something to blame. But development doesn't come from comfort, it comes from truth. And the truth is simple, she was not robbed, she was tested, and she wasn't ready. Why this moment matters more than any win this match will not define her career, but how she responds to it will. Because this is the exact kind of loss that creates monsters. Not in a negative way, but in the way champions are built. The kind of loss that stays with you. The kind that replays in your mind. The kind that burns, and that burn, that's fuel. Fuel for longer practice sessions. Fuel for tougher mental training. Fuel for becoming someone who never lets this happen again. The fork in the road right now, there are two paths in front of her. Path 1, believe the noise, believe the excuses, believe that external factors stole the match. That path feels easier, but it leads nowhere. Path 2, accept everything, the nerves, the hesitation, the missed opportunities, and use it. That path is painful, but it leads to greatness. The real question this is no longer about Linz. The match is over, the result is final. Nothing is changing that. The real question is something much bigger. What kind of player will she become because of this? Because one day, she will be back in that exact situation. 5-1 up. One game away. The crowd loud, the opponent desperate, chaos building. And when that moment comes again, she won't just be playing her opponent, she'll be playing this memory. Here's a version of this story that most people will never understand. A version where this isn't a tragedy, not a robbery, not injustice, not something to fix, but something far more important. A beginning, because years from now when people talk about Alexandra Eala, they won't start with her biggest win. They won't start with trophies. They won't start with rankings. They'll start here. Linz 5-1, and the match she couldn't finish. The day everything changed, every great athlete has a moment like this. A moment where talent is no longer enough, where potential is no longer impressive, where the game demands something deeper, something colder, something harder, something ruthless. For some, that moment breaks them. For others, it transforms them. From talent to threat right now, Eala is seen as a rising star. Talented, skilled, promising. But those words don't scare opponents. You know what does? Unshakable players, players who don't blink, players who don't collapse when chaos hits, players who don't give matches away no matter what happens. That's what she isn't yet. But this is how you become that. The lesson no coach can teach. There are things in tennis that cannot be taught. Not in training, not in drills, not in practice matches. You can't simulate the pressure of closing out a Grand Slam champion, the noise of a crowd turning chaotic, the feeling of everything slipping away in real time. You have to live it. And now, she has, painfully, completely, unforgettably. The memory that never leaves this match will follow her, not as a shadow, but as a reminder. Every tight scoreline, every moment at 5-4, every time she serves for a match. It will be there, not to haunt her, but to guide her. Because next time, she won't be guessing what it feels like, she'll know. The future version of Eala. Picture this. Same situation, different match, bigger stage, she's up again. 5-1, second set, one game away, but this time something is different. The opponent tries to disrupt. The crowd gets loud, the rhythm breaks, but she doesn't. No panic, no hesitation, no collapse, just execution, point by point. Game by game, finish, that version of her. That's not talent, that's experience. An experience like that is built from losses exactly like Linz. The truth about champions, people love comeback stories, they love victories. They love highlight moments, but they don't understand what creates them. It's not confidence, it's not hype, it's not belief, it's scars, the matches you should have won but didn't. The moments you controlled but lost. The opportunities that slipped and never came back. That's what builds champions, and right now, she just earned her first real scar. A message to the fans, this is where everything comes full circle. Because the people who love her the most might be the ones hurting her development the most. Not intentionally, but emotionally. By pushing the idea that she was robbed, they're trying to protect her. But greatness doesn't come from protection. It comes from confrontation, from facing reality, from accepting flaws, from fixing what broke. That's real support, not rewriting the result, but respecting it. The match will never be replayed. Let's end the illusion. There will be no replay, no reversal. No second chance. The match is over. The result stands forever. And that's exactly how it should be. Because if you remove this loss, you remove the lesson. And if you remove the lesson, you remove the future champion. The final choice right now, somewhere away from the cameras, away from the noise, away from the internet, Alexandra Eala is making a choice. Not publicly, not dramatically, quietly. Does she carry this loss as frustration, or does she carry it as fuel, because one leads to stagnation, the other leads to transformation? The end or the beginning. Linz wasn't the end of her story. It was the moment the story got real, the moment where potential met pressure, where control met chaos, where talent met truth and lost. But losing like this isn't failure. It's the first step toward becoming unstoppable. And when she comes back, because she will, this match won't be remembered as the one she lost. It will be remembered as the one that created her. If you understand what this moment really means, then you already know this isn't the last time we'll talk about her. Because the next time she's in that position, the outcome might look very different. And when it does, everyone will come back to this match and realize this is where it started. Subscribe if you want real, unfiltered sports stories, not just highlights, but the truth behind them. Because in this game, the most important moments aren't the wins. They're the ones that break you before they build you.